If you're looking to replace the rear axle, you'll need to disassemble the sprocket, rear brake panel, and the rear axle itself. To work on the sprocket, you'll need a number 24 wrench, number 5 Allen wrench, and either a heat gun or just a regular hairdryer. For the rear brake panel, you'll need the same number 24 and number 5 Allen wrenches, plus a number 32 wrench and a heat gun. If you're dealing with the rear axle, grab a number 24 wrench, number 5 Allen wrench, a number 30 wrench, and a heat gun or a hairdryer. First, remove the left rear wheel and the chain cover. Use the heat gun or hairdryer to heat up the 3 bolts, just enough to melt the adhesive. Once that's done, take off the sprocket by removing the 3 bolts. Next, move to the right rear wheel and brake. Again, use the heat gun or hairdryer to melt the adhesive on the nuts. Remove the 2 nuts on the axle. Now use the heat gun or hairdryer on the bolts of the brake panel to melt the adhesive there as well. Once heated, take off the 3 bolts and remove the rear axle disc brake flange from the center of the brake panel. Don't forget to take the key out of the keyway on the axle before you push the rear axle out of the rear fork from the right side. When putting everything back together, insert the rear axle into the rear fork from the left side. Make sure the keyway is facing up, then slide the key back in. Insert the rear axle disc brake flange into the center of the brake panel, line up the bolt holes, and pop in the 3 bolts. Tighten them up nice and snug. Secure the key on the rear axle and slide it into the brake panel. Put the 2 nuts back on, keep the axle steady, and tighten the nuts. It's a good idea to use some adhesive on the bolts and nuts to make sure everything stays in place. Now reinstall the brake and rear wheel. When sliding the sprocket onto the rear axle, align the 3 bolt holes with the mounting holes on the rear fork, insert the bolts, and tighten them down. After that, it's recommended to apply adhesive to the bolt holes for extra security. Finally, fit the chain and rotate the sprocket to double check that everything's installed correctly. And you're good to go.